Hi guys, it's Dark Age Week here on beastsofwar.com, and we have an amazing prize pool that must be won. First up, we have an amazing 1000 point 2-player starter bundle for you and me to get into the game, including 2 500 point armies, all the cards, tokens and templates you need to get into the game, and signed copies of the core rulebook and the Forsaken book. We then have 7 starter sets up for grabs, also including a signed copy of the core rulebook. As if that wasn't enough prizes for you, our Beasts of War members are in with a chance of winning 5 amazing spot prizes from some of the coolest comments this week. So, hi guys, welcome to Dark Age Week here on Beasts of War. Today we are having a look at the Outcast faction. So, we've already had a look at the Forsaken. We know they're the main faction in the world. They've got the big city, they've got all the technology. Let's talk about everybody else. What has happened to those who have been kicked out of Port City and are now trying to survive in the wastelands of Dark Age?
Well, we're talking about the Outcast faction here. Not so much kicked out as left of their own free will.
Okay.
If you think of the Outcasts as those who saw this as an opportunity to go their own way, to live their life the way on their own terms.
I see.
Rather than having to submit to the will of the
Prevailers.
The Prevailers.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is very important to the Prevailers, submitting to their will.
Okay.
So the Outcasts have left. They're the free spirits, the independent thinkers.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So there are those that are basically the scavengers.
And the slave traders. Let's not forget the slave traders.
There are the slave traders, and there are the tribal nomads as well.
We've got some images to show off who's in this faction. So who are we looking at first here?
So looking at here on the left, we've got Bendarin Dersh, who is the leader of the Dersh tribe of the Saltflat nomads. They're my favorite faction, sort of faction. Yeah, very definitely.
Yeah. So how do they play on the tabletop? Just very quickly.
The Saltflat nomads are mobile scavengers. So their play style on the table is to move around, to harass the enemy, get into a good position, then close in.
Right. So these guys like getting up close and personal with a knife or a sword or a club or something of that sort. Yeah.
Very definitely. The Bendarin Dersh is the Blade Lord.
Now, on the other side of this picture, we're seeing one of the slave traders. So who is this guy?
This is the Warden, the leader of the Slavers of Chainsbarrow. So we have 2 Outcast sub-factions at the moment. We have the Saltflat Nomads, who are your melee, we want to just get in there and kill guys. And then you have the Slavers. These guys are all about instilling panic into the enemy and actually gaining benefits to attack panicked enemies as well. They're also kind of a mid-range faction. They use a lot of pistols and rifles and things of that nature. Nice,
very nice. Moving along, we do have some other images, of course, as we always do. So who do we have here?
On the left, we've got Mongo.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about Mongo on the very first video.
Yeah.
But let's go a little more in depth. What is he? What is Mongo?
So one of the kind of sub-races of the Outcasts are the Brutes. And these were humans that were genetically modified and bred to be slave labor back in the days of the corporation before the fall, when everything fell apart and there was no longer anyone to control them. When the Outcasts all started leaving the city, the Brutes led this mass migration out as well because they didn't want to be slaves anymore. And they're basically, if you look at them, they're giant, bulky humans that are bred to do all the menial tasks.
Right, so I'm guessing super strong, super tough. One of these hits you in melee, you are not going to feel
Absolutely.
good about it.
And Mongo is the biggest of all of the Brutes. As you see, he's got 2 giant cinder blocks that he has strapped to his arms, and he is basically going to turn anything into paste that he gets near.
Yeah. Our other character here, who do we have here?
The other one we have here is Hodge, who's the Warlord of Samaria, the self-styled Warlord of Samaria. The cool thing about Hodge here is we run a tournament each year called the Immortals Tournament. The winner of the Immortals Tournament gets to sit down with our team and create a character for the world of Dark Age.
That's a cool prize.
So this one here is the very first Immortals Tournament winner, Chris Hajowski, who sat down, worked out that he wanted this grand warlord, self-styled warlord character. And actually, this model and this background spawned the whole Outcast faction.
Okay, now that is an excellent claim to fame. I won the tournament, I created my character, I now have a faction under that character. That is brilliant. Next up in the lineup, I think we have some more slavers here. or slaves, I think these guys are. So who are these?
These are chain gangers, and this is the lowest level of the slaver units. These guys are basically cannon fodder. They're given rudimentary weapons and just sent up there and just kill whatever you can before you die.
Yeah. Well, it's very cool, but I'm seeing one of them's not human.
The slavers do not care who or what they enslave as long as it is tameable. Or actually, in some cases, they'll even find ways to tame things that are not tameable. But that is a Drogiri slave that they have managed to capture and thrown in with the chain gangers. And these guys specialize in using kind of dirty tactics. So they will get extra bonuses for ganging up on the enemy and actually cause distractions. So they will actually give debuffs to enemies who are near them but not attacking them.
Ah, okay. So basically, they're flinging insults at people before they attack them, just to go, "Hey, your mother!" Next up, we have, I believe this is another slaver, and this is a beautiful piece of artwork, and the miniature itself is absolutely gorgeous for this. Who do we have here?
This is Finn Deadeye from the Slavers. This is one of their enforcers, and this is basically the person they send after anyone they want dead. If you're a runaway slave, or if you're a prime target, they will send Finn Deadeye, and that target will be eliminated. And she is a sniper. Go figure, with her long sniper rifle and her bionic eye. So she specializes in long range, long range kills. She gets bonuses to ignoring cover and other penalties because of her bionics. And she basically wants to stay in the back. If you get near her, she is going to have problems because she doesn't have a lot of capabilities there. So she wants to be looming around the edges of the battlefield, waiting for that precise shot where she can just take someone out.
Yeah, so basically don't be too gung-ho, don't throw her up the field, keep her on a nice high platform, good lines of sight, and wait for that target of opportunity.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, next up, I believe we have some more of your faction, Dave. So here are these.
Yep, it's my favorite faction. So yeah, here on the left we have the Moonless Night. The Moonless Night is less of a specific person, but it's a rank.
I see.
It's the highest rank in the tribe for the Hands of War, who are a unit type within the faction.
Okay.
So the Hands of War dye their hands with pigments to signify that that's their status in the tribe.
This is the part of the clan I'm in. Yeah. And then this particularly, you're saying Moonless Night. So is this a higher rank, maybe?
This is the highest rank of the Hands of War, basically where they've pigmented all of their skin to look like the Moonless Night.
The Moonless Night. So this is basically, is this sort of a stealth character who's going to be hiding and running in the battlefield?
Hiding, moving around quietly, getting into position, and then striking.
I see.
Fading away into the shadows, moving, striking.
And then beside her, we have, one of the regular...
This is a sort of the standard kind of look for the tribal warriors.
Yeah.
So you can see the lots of scavenged armor, and that sort of almost a Fremen feel, a sand raider.
It's very much, this is that classical nomadic desert tribe person that you're going to see. It's got all of the things you're going to expect to see. So you've got leather armor, nice big scimitar. I think I'm seeing some arrows in the back there. So do they have a ranged attack?
They do have a ranged attack. They've got a small hand crossbow.
Okay, very, very cool. And our last character here is very, very cool. So who do we have here?
This is one of the slave masters for the Slavers of Chains Barrow. So the thing about the slavers is that they're not just, we're going to enslave you guys and just you fight for us until you die. Their hierarchy is actually, if you are a good enough slave and you prove yourself worth enough, you can eventually work your way up to being a gang boss, the leader of the chain gangers. If you prove you're loyal then and still a competent fighter, then you can actually work your way up to being a slave master. So you can kind of work your way out of the slave role and into part of their society of being one of the overseers and the actual captors. And then that horrific cycle just starts all over again.
Yeah, but I kind of like that it's not just a life of drudgery until you die. I like the fact, there is light at the end of the tunnel that would actually make the chain gangs actually want to fight harder, to want to prove themselves, to actually move up through the hierarchy.
The warden, their leader, kind of built his base of operations off of old corporations that he had read about from before the fall. So you have these guys who are basically indentured servants, but as long as you give them some hope that they can work their way out of that, then
they will work all the harder.
They will work all the harder.
Amazing management approach.
Yeah. No, you see, it's here's a carrot, here's a whip. What do you want to give them? I'll give them the carrot, but I'm just going to hang it just out of reach. Just out of reach.
Oh, and there are whips too.
Yep.
Of course, of course. Well, I mean, like we see it in the artwork here, and I'm guessing these guys are probably quite brutal whenever it comes to getting them doing what they want on the tabletop. Like, what exactly does this guy do for you on the tabletop, just out of curiosity?
So he has the distinction of having a pistol, which is already a big deal in the setting. And he actually has this fan the hammer attack where he can fire off additional shots at the risk of the weapon malfunctioning.
Of course.
But the big thing for them is going to be that whip they have. That actually can has the victimized special ability, which means it can cause panic in the enemies. And the slavers in general get bonuses to attacking panicked enemies because they like having the advantage and they like instilling fear in their opponents.
Very cool, very cool. Right, well, guys, that's the Outcast. Another one that I'm really liking. Drop us a comment below. Is this going to be the faction for you? We'll move on here. We will see you in the next video.